Kofi. So it's a wonderful song, and I believe it fits for this evening and this discussion for Marine Corps birthday as well as for Veterans Day. For all of our men and women out there, for all branches and all eras, present, past, and future. You know, that song right there really hits home. It's really touching for me. And even telling my story today was really touching. If you guys notice, I got a little choked up. But that's just part of, telling the story. That's just part of life. We have to tell our story, whether it's good or bad. We have to learn from it. We have to educate our children that's behind us, for they're our future. The Cub Scouts, the Boy Scouts, it's wonderful to see that person posted that. It is so wonderful because I'm glad that, people are doing their part. And, as I was saying earlier, when I was live, in the parade, every branch, everyone has a role, no matter what your role was. If you were stateside, they call it in the rear. If you was in the rear and you did logistics, or you did, I don't know, you got logistics, you got trucking, you got transportation, excuse me, you have the admin, you have everything. Everyone has a role. So imagine when you're on active duty, and let's just say, no matter what your sex was, let's say you're active duty, you had a spouse and children back home. It was somebody from your unit that was dedicated to make sure they communicate with the spouse and make sure that spouse had everything they needed so they wouldn't worry, whether they lived on base or lived off base, okay? And to let you know that, hey, you was safe, you was okay. If the children if you had children, the children need something, they needed daycare, they needed Pampers, they needed formula, they needed anything. They needed a way to and from school. They made sure that it was less stressful for the military personnel that was abroad. So that way, when they did contact home, when they did write home, it wouldn't be like, honey, babe, I don't know how we're going to do this. This is due, the child is sick, stuff like that. That person back at the unit, and every unit had a section that made sure they interacted with the spouses that was behind. So that way they can say, okay, yes, he's here, she's here, they're safe, da-da-da-da-da. And then on the downside, if that soldier or Marine, Airman, Navy men, Coast Guard person, I don't know the name of the Coast Guard, so I apologize, Coast Guard, passed away, they had a different section that would, knock on the door, submit that letter and stuff like that. But everyone had a role. So for those of my brothers and sisters that didn't go abroad, that suffered from survivor's guilt, for the ones that passed away and they had to see that name on that email or on that telegram, your role meant something. So don't diminish your role, because everyone has a role and everyone has a role to play. And we needed people stateside to make sure that the communication was going, to make sure that the family homestead was fine. So that way the person that's abroad wasn't, didn't get worried, as well as the spouse back stateside wasn't too worried, because they was worried, but they wasn't too worried. So then, of course, the spouse would have to, talk to the mothers and the fathers, if they had, parents, even though you was married. Those parents, they communicated that too. But those parents, depending on the unit, could also be a part of the monthly meeting and stuff like that whenever the meeting, went about. Because remember, we didn't have smartphones back then. We did not have smartphones. I get people that ask me all the time, well, why didn't you take more pictures? Why couldn't you just call home? You had a phone. I said, oh, no. Let me tell you something. They probably have phones now that work over there, but let me tell you something. In 2003, there was no phone that worked like a cell phone. It worked in Iraq to call back to the United States. But it's nice to hear people, if you didn't know, for example, I hate to put people in a box, but let's just say your average millennial that, didn't know, they didn't grow up in that era, but they grew up in the era of smartphones. So they're thinking, oh, you had an iPhone 1 or iPhone 3 over there. No, you didn't. It didn't work. So, but we had satellite phones, and we had, they had the engineers make like a phone booth. They had like 20 phones. It was called a phone cafe. Had like 20 or 30 phones in there in a tent. That AC, it worked, but it didn't work. And when you made the phone call, it was a 30-second delay, and you used a DSN line. So if you were stateside, you can call, the unit will say, okay, this is a DSN line. You can call this number to get to another number. And if you was abroad, you call, they had a whole list of every state that had a DSN. So you would call back to that DSN and say, okay, can you call this number for me? And it was a 30-second delay. So the delay wasn't that bad when it was from DSN to DSN. But once the DSN went to landline, oh my goodness, it was like if you said hello, it was like a 30 seconds, and then it was like you got the hello, but you also had the echo. Kind of like when like I'm on the radio. If I hear someone that has the radio playing in the background, I'm repeating. I can hear myself repeating. So that's how it was with a DSN line. Once you got a contact with a stateside line, and it was just weird. But the first time I used it, trust me, I hung up on my family at least once or twice because I didn't understand the delay. And then one of my buddies was like, no, it's like a minute delay. You got to just wait and listen. And it's like you got 20 people talking in this phone cafe, and we're not really trying to talk loud, but you have to talk loud because we're not sure that the other person can hear us. So it's like, what? Yeah, we're okay. I love you too. And it's just, and then there's a pause. You can hear people pause in different areas. You're like, and that's how you knew they were waiting for a response. But that's how we communicated. It was postcards, mail, and then if you was mailing the mail away, we used to put free mail in the top corner where a stamp goes, and you seal the envelope. We give it to the postal person in our unit. They send it away, boom, and then of course in 2 months we may get a return letter or something like that. And believe it or not, I got a letter 2 years after I got back home that a person sent me. So it went back overseas to the unit I was with. Then the unit sent it back, and I guess they sent it back again. Then it finally made it back to my home unit, and then my home unit sent it to me. So it went from Maryland to Iraq. Well, in between Iraq, whatever states it went to in between there. But Maryland to Iraq, Iraq to, I believe it was Montana, Montana to, what was it? Seattle, then Seattle to Virginia, then Virginia to Maryland, and then from Maryland to Pennsylvania. So it traveled all that. It was, 2 years for me to get that letter back. It was awesome. I was like, what in the world? I was like, what? So imagine getting the letter that was sent in 2004, and you just got it in 2007. Because that's when I got it, 2007. That's when I got it. So it was awesome. It was nice reading. It was very touching. Nice reading that letter, and I still have it today in my little photo album. It was just a remembrance of like wow. So I can only imagine the other letters that's out there from other branches that's just lost in the mail that never got to somebody. But that was our way of services. We really didn't have access to email like that back then, especially if you was in a battlefield, battlegrounds. So you definitely didn't have time to check email. I was busy doing convoys and stuff like that. So we really didn't have time to, check emails. But now, we do have a lot of veteran organizations that we didn't have during the Vietnam era when they came back, but we have now. So I stress to people, please join your VFWs. Please join your American Legions. Please join your AMVETs. Please join the Marine Corps lodges. And if the Air Force have a lodge, or if the Coast Guard have a lodge, join those two. I don't know because I wasn't in those two branches, but I do know there's a Marine Corps lodge because a buddy of mine was a Marine and my brother's a Marine. And they do a golf tournament every year, but it was canceled due to COVID. But I know they have a Marine Corps lodge because there's some here in Greencastle, Chambersburg, Franklin County. There's a whole bunch. Okay, then of course you have the VFW, American Legion, AMVETs, and there's one left in Chambersburg. It's the Vietnam Lodge, but they're open to all branches. It's the only one left in the nation. So they're accepting memberships. It's $25 a year. So definitely sign up for that, guys. I can't say it enough. For our veterans that's here now, that's in my era, we have to step up and join these clubs so the clubs don't fade away. These clubs have been around for every era of veteran, even for us. We have to make sure it's available for veterans past us. So it's time for us to pick up the torch. It is time for us to pick up the torch. So if you're a veteran from OIF, OEF, hey, get to your local VFW, American Legion, AMVETS, Marine Corps Lodge, whatever branch lodge you have, get to it. Join. If you can become a lifetime member, become a lifetime member. If you can only do a year membership, do a year membership. If you're a spouse or you're a family or friend, some of them have associate memberships on that side where you can still come in, get a membership, and still, get the meals, participate in certain things, and come to some of the meetings. But definitely, I urge people, especially during this time, because there's so many VFWs that's in trouble of not reopening due to COVID. And let me tell you something, the research I've done and the meetings I've been to, these now it was a list of VFWs, American Legions, AMVETS, Moose Lodges, Marine Corps Leagues, and the Vietnam League. In a year, they donate over $5 million to nonprofit organizations like the Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, like your average sports for children, for the needy. They do the food drives. Trust me, trust me. Please join these organizations. Keep them afloat. If you have an extra dollar or so, extra change in your ashtray, even though it wasn't heard this change shortage, but now it went away. Donate those little nickels, dimes, pennies, quarters, whatever you have. Donate $1 because guess what? It all adds up. Okay. Donate the canned goods, the pastas. Donate that stuff too, because they're going to make sure it gets to the right people. So as we always say this, the people that serve and people are currently serving, our enlistment does not expire even though we got out. And these men or women are still serving our community, still serving the United States through these organizations. It's wonderful. It's just, between all these veterans organizations like WWP, BBRT, Lone Survivor, all these organizations, these core organizations right here that's locally to you, the VFW, the AMVETS, the American Legion, the Moose Lodges, the Marine Corps Lodges, the Vietnam Lodges, they're right here in your backyard. They are donating to that community they're in. So please join these organizations. Go to the meetings, whether it's virtual, whether it's in person. Go get a dinner from them. That's like $5 spaghetti dinners and stuff like that. So before I turn off, you guys always know I end with Wiz Khalifa, see you again. But I have a few, and I'll still be checking the news feed. And then next week, because next week if you call in, I'll still have 2 more gift cards left. So the next question was name one song I played. That was on there. What branch did I serve in, and what food drive did I talk about in the beginning of a broadcast? Okay. So definitely, so far we have 1 winner. We're looking for 2 more winners. This will go on until I get rid of all these gift cards, okay? So I'm going to play my ending song, Wiz Khalifa, till I see you again. And let me tell you guys something. Please, no matter what you do in life, pay it forward. Please, pay it forward. You never know what you may do that may affect someone. So if you're looking for RV storage or for your classical car or any kind of car, to put in the storage is a 14x50. It's in Marion, PA. Contact 717-375-4900. If you'd like to donate to a wonderful veteran organization that's giving back, that's a House of Blackout, you can follow them on YouTube and on Facebook, or look up Chuck Timbrook. Okay, you'll see that nice semi truck. Him and his entourage, him and his staff, doing this with sweat equity by donations and by volunteers, and they're always helping out our veterans. Always helping out our veterans. Yeah, some nice shirts, some good swag, whether it's a sweatshirt, t-shirt, pullover, they got it. Hoodie, boom. So definitely be on the lookout. He'll be opening up, I believe it's like a coffee shop soon, okay, in Martinsburg, West Virginia. So it'll be a place where you can go get some nice food, some nice coffee, some nice, water, energy drinks, whatever they may be selling. So he's doing bigger and better things to make sure that myself and other veterans can come, fellowship and talk to each other and just have a great time. So I'm about to tune off. So at the end of the day, this is WRGG 93.7. We are GA. And thank you for supporting our veterans. Happy birthday to the Marine Corps and happy Veterans Day. So I'm going to end it with Wiz Khalifa. See you again, because guess what? I will see you again.